There we go. Welcome back to Live with Jane and Jody, Tuesday, December 12th. Hope everybody's getting ready for the holidays. We are excited to have Dr. Hummel joining us today. So I'm going to go through a couple quick things. Number one, we are recording this session, but we would love your participation. So please, by all means, turn on your cameras, unmute yourself. When you have questions, these sessions are for you guys. So feel free to awkwardly interrupt us here on Zoom and jump in and let us know what questions you have for Dr. Hummel or for us at any point. My name is Jane Voorhees. I'm one of the admissions representatives. So ultimately helping students get ready for a successful interview, get through that admissions process, and joining our community for the naturopathic doctorate program. I've been here at SCNM. I've been back since 2019. I had a little previous career for a minute, but absolutely love what I get to do to support our ND students joining this program, changing the future of healthcare, anything I can do to help this continue to grow. I'm excited to be here. Outside of Sonoran, I love being in Arizona. So if you're not a hiker, you're going to become one at some point because these mountains are just so unique and different. It draws you outdoors all the time. What else? Oh, live entertainment, right? I love concerts and football and baseball and sports and all kinds of goofy things like that. So that's a little bit about me. Thanks for being here today, Jody.
Awesome. Thanks, Jane. So, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Hummel. My name is Jody Durham. I am the other admissions rep. So, I work with the beginning of the alphabet, where Jane works with the end of the alphabet. But same thing, we're here for you. We absolutely love what we do. I have been with Sonoran/SCNM. In August was my 17th year. So, I've been here since 2006. Absolutely love it. Can't imagine anywhere else I want to be. Came out here. I've always been in like customer service, or I was in the mortgage industry. So this is a blessing. So absolutely love helping each and every one of you guys. Originally from South Bend, Indiana. So my husband and my two girls and myself moved out here in 2002. So we've been out here for about 21 years. Absolutely love Arizona, just like Jane said, especially this time of year because we are like in the high 70s. So it's beautiful. So yeah, so welcome. This will be a great, segment today, I'm sure, with and being able to answer any of your questions. So one of the things that I always do is I share a core value with everyone. So, core values are beliefs of our institution, of course. So, bear with me. I'm using our brand new core values right now. So, this week we chose we achieve excellence. So, I have 3 bullet points that what do we mean by achieve excellence? By pursuing greatness, setting the bar high and exceeding it through continuous improvement, enhancing the university experience through innovation and persistence. And last but not least, by celebrating accomplishments, appreciating achievements with humility and gratitude. So that's one of our core values that we definitely work towards. So, welcome everybody.
Thank you, Jody. One of my favorites. I think we definitely,
Mhm.
in our department alone, we achieve excellence. Like we want to give you guys the best customer service out there. So hopefully as you're looking at all the ND schools, you realize we are the best and this is the place to be. And when I look at our NCLEX scores and our board scores and just the amazing community that we continue to grow here, I think that's a great choice. Thanks, Jody.
Thanks.
All right. So speaking of relocating, right? Jody's from Indiana. I actually relocated about 20 plus years ago from the East Coast. Looks like Dr. Hummel also at some point relocated to the desert from Ashland, Oregon is originally where he is from. Looks like he got his degree at Northern Arizona University. So it's probably what drew him out here to Arizona. And then he graduated from Sonoran University in 2015. So today we're going to learn, hopefully he's going to tell us about a private practice that he's doing. I think he's still here in Arizona. And outside of work, he's recently been doing some metal detecting and digging up old coins. So that sounds kind of fun. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Anything you'd like to add on that little bio snippet, Dr. Hummel?
Yeah, so I think maybe I made an error when I was filling things out, which is possible. I'm in Ashland, Oregon currently. So that's actually where I'm
Okay.
at. But I'm
Backwards.
actually from Cottonwood, Arizona, and I spent most of my life in Arizona. So I actually know
Okay.
Arizona very, very well, and I love it. And right now I'm really missing the sunshine. So
Nice.
Thank you for
Awesome.
clarifying. All right.
Yeah.
so
So,
yeah, I'm
yeah.
happy to be here.
Awesome. Awesome. So we're going to jump right in. So we do have some formatted questions that we'll ask Dr. Hummel, but do feel free to ask whatever you'd like. Like Jane said earlier, this is for you to learn more about our spectacular alumni and what they're doing. So, Dr. Hummel, we always start out asking, so how did you become interested in naturopathic medicine from the beginning?
So I had an interesting course through my medical career. I originally was going to become an MD and then thought, well, I'd rather be a DO. And then I thought, well, I'd rather be a chiropractor. And I actually jumped from program to program. So I went from an MD school, and then I went to a chiropractic school. And while I was at the chiropractic school, they did a really amazing course on the history of medicine. And during that course, they talked about naturopathic medicine, and I had never heard of it before. And so, as I was introduced to that, all of those core principles of naturopathic medicine, treat the cause, use nature, right, all of those really important core principles that make us naturopaths, they really resonated with me. And so I took the drive down to Arizona and met all of you guys, and I was sold. And so I jumped from chiropractic school to there. So yeah.
Nice. I did not know that. Nice.
So what chiropractic school were you in?
I was actually in the same one that Dr. Thompson was at. Like I knew him.
Think
I knew him
that's
there.
life chiropractic, I think he's from.
It was called Southern California University of Health
Oh,
Sciences, which was
okay.
LACC. The Los Angeles Chiropractic College had shifted there. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
I am still fascinated to this day that this isn't described in undergrad, that students aren't learning about this as an option as they were working on their pre-med track and trying to decide what kind of doctor they want to be. You were all the way partway through two medical programs before you even realized this was an option out there. So what can we do to get that flag bigger and bigger and to tap into those advisors at that undergraduate level? I keep asking that question, you know.
Yeah, I think it would have been wonderful to have learned about it earlier on. And the
Mm,
truth is, there was a process that I needed to go through to recognize how important it was to utilize more alternative therapies and how effective they can be. And I think I needed to go through that process a little bit for me personally. Because I don't even know if I would have been open to it, early in my undergrad. And that's an unfortunate thing. I think the
true.
more people recognize how incredible, naturopaths are and what we provide and like the level of service we provide, the level of education we receive, um, it really sets us apart. And then when people recognize that, when you actually go have a personal experience with a naturopath, that's what shifts
Right.
everything. I feel like
Right.
that's what will really help us be known, make the difference.
That's exactly what I was going to say is students that come to us is they've either been a patient themselves where naturopathic medicine has helped them or a family member not getting the answers that they need and getting sicker and sicker. And then they find naturopathic medicine and see it in action. And that's all they need to do. So that's where the calling is. Yes.
So true.
Awesome.
So, Dr. Hummel, since you already lived in Arizona, it was an easy trip then for you at the time to come on over to SCNM at the time, check out our campus. Did you check out the other schools and consider applying at other schools, or were you focused just on SCNM?
Oh, is he frozen?
I thought I saw him still moving. Nope.
Yeah, he's frozen.
I
There.
did. I did
Oh, there you go.
consider other schools, when you, all right. So yeah, when I was looking at online, there was all these comparisons to Bastyr and, several of the other programs, and I was very torn on what school to go to. And as I did, research into it, I think there's some things that really set, Sonoran apart significantly. And I'd say one of those big things is your level of practice rights that you have in Arizona, which allows you to have a much broader range of education, without needing to go through like another program. Like I'm up here in Oregon right now, and I have, I went through all of that training on doing acupuncture, but I can't do acupuncture in Oregon because I have to have a licensed acupuncturist degree in order to do that. But in Arizona, I absolutely could, and I got pretty good at it. So I was very disappointed that, I wasn't able to do that here. So my personal feeling on it was when I went through that process and I realized how much more I could learn there, and I just wanted to learn as much as I could. I was very interested in it. And then when I went down and actually met everyone for the interview and I applied, it was just obvious I didn't want to apply to any other schools. It was just, first off, I think I might have a little bit of Clark Kent in me where I need sunlight to to function. I need to get power from the sun, and that's what Arizona gives you.
Yes,
So
it does, and lots of it. Yeah,
exactly.
it just makes
So
you
that
feel
I think
better,
that was good.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it
totally.
really does.
Totally.
Hmm.
I'm dealing with that right
Yeah,
now. I mean, I spent my whole life in Arizona and now there's clouds over me like during this winter
yeah.
time, which I love, but man, I gotta pull out my little happy light, right, and shine it on my face. And I would just look out the window in Arizona.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That is
Awesome.
powerful. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
easy choice. But
So
like you said, for
it was an
most,
easy decision. Easy
I love
decision.
that you brought that up. I want to dive deeper into what you just brought up there. So, at the moment, you are in Oregon, and although you might not be able to do the actual needling, you're certainly able to diagnose or ask different questions of your patient to help you give her a different perspective. Are you still, in a way, able to use traditional Chinese medicine as a tool?
Yes, I still utilize it and I use it all the time. In fact, I use a lot of herbal medicines that resonate with Chinese medicine. So, yeah, it's a little disappointing I can't use an aspect that I could in Arizona, but I can. It's so nice. Like I send people, and this is an important thing to recognize as naturopaths too, is that it's really important to be open to referring patients to the right sources, the right things they need. That's what sets us apart. I think we're amazing gatekeepers in a lot of ways. And so I would refer over to a licensed acupuncturist, but I send them, I say, hey, I think we need to work on these points. I think they have a spleen chi deficiency, and this is what it makes everything easier, everything more seamless. I'm helping the patients on different levels that way. So yeah, you still get the education. You can't take that away.
That's awesome.
Right. Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
And then you have such a great partnership with another acupuncturist there in Ashland
Yep.
now. Mhm.
Nice. Nice.
Networking is very important.
Yes, yes. And just a reminder, everybody on the call, absolutely, if you have questions, please, in fact, let me open up the chat. Jump in, join our conversation, throw a question out into the chat box for us. This is for your
Yes.
time
Yes.
for you guys.
Please do. So after graduation, Dr. Hummel, did you do a residency or no?
I did. Yep. I
You
did
did.
a
Okay.
3-year CNME approved residency. It was affiliated with NUNM at the time.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and I did that just because it was an off-campus one. I had done it in Utah for about a year. Then I actually came back to
Okay.
Arizona to Scottsdale and did an additional 2 years. So I did actually I did a 3-year residency, which is not super common in
Nice. Mm-mm.
naturopathic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Right. But so important. I think it's so important. So yeah, absolutely. So we do have our first question in here from Maria, and she's asking, do you collaborate with any allopathic physicians as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you absolutely have to. In fact, yesterday, great example. I was in here with a patient and I was reading a radiology report for them. They had a wrist issue. And so I brought up the report and I thought, man, I'm looking at this person's wrist and I'm looking at the report and they don't really match up. So we called the physician and talked on the phone together about it and discussed it in front of the patient. And it was really, really helpful. And it built confidence in not only what we do, but also what they do and how they interpret those images. So that's just one example, but I refer out all the time. You have to. I mean, you can't not be part of the main system. It really doesn't work well to separate yourself entirely. You need to refer when it's right for your patient. They do heroic medicine that is sometimes very much needed. I would not, treat someone, for their like surgical removal of a massive tumor, right? I can't do that.
Right.
That's not under my
Right. Exactly.
anything under my scope. So yeah, I refer and
Right.
would work with them all the time. I actually trained under several of them, and they're still very good friends of mine. I have several
Nice.
oncologists that I worked with, and they're just great, great people. So we all do our part
Nice.
in what we are knowledgeable about. So
Very good. Very good.
Do you feel that's a two-way street? Are you getting the shared referrals and the connection and the commitment back from other doctors that need just basic nutritional or herbal treatments or other outside the box thinking? Are you getting patients referred back to you?
yeah, it depends on the doctor. I mean, it really depends on your relationship with that physician and like how much confidence they have in you. There's definitely there's a lot of unknowns when it comes around naturopathic medicine with the allopathic world, and they get taught certain things that are not necessarily true, and
Mm.
they have their own biases that are brought into it. Everyone does, and really once they get to know you and you connect with them and you show the level of knowledge that you have and your depth of understanding when it comes to medical diagnoses or testing or labs from an allopathic standpoint, and then bring that in and share with them evidence regarding what you use too. Like I love botanical medicine, so I'm working right now with a gentleman, a very well-known herbalist, who just compiles data like no one I've ever met in my life. And so I'm sharing paper after paper on, various things with different oncologists, and it shifts their understanding and they start to trust you. And so I have a pediatric oncologist that sends me patients like pretty regularly and to help with what I can provide for them. And we all kind of work together. So yeah.
Nice. The beauty of medicine. That's how it should be. Everybody working together. Yes. Absolutely.
Botanicals. I forgot Ashland. Isn't that where Gaia Herbs is? There's a huge herb farm up there. I saw Ashland's a beautiful
Yeah.
green lush country, so I bet you've got access to a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
good
I'll bet. I'll bet.
It's really
Yeah,
beautiful.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
So
I'm trying to
let's
think.
talk.
I think Mountain Rose Herbs is in Eugene, so that's a big
Oh,
one. Herb
okay.
Farms. So yeah, it's cool.
Okay. Yeah, I've been to Eugene, so very nice. Very nice.
Mhm.
Let's talk a little bit about your practice. So, first of all, are you practicing by yourself or do you have other practitioners within your practice?
So I am an independent contractor with one practice, and then I'm an employee with another practice. And most of my experience after school has been as an employee with different organizations or an independent contractor. Um, I have not officially, I guess I kind of start my own thing, but I haven't really put the depth of creating my own full-born, just me focused practice out there. So I think I'm a little bit unique in some aspects with that because I know most NDs start their own practices, and I've kind of
Right.
not really done that. So
Okay.
Sounds like it gives you a lot of
Okay.
freedom, though.
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah, there's
Nice.
good and bad.
Sure, right. but yeah, almost like a residency that's just ongoing. But
Yeah, kind of.
you're still under
Kind of in one
the
way. Yeah,
umbrella.
but you know, you never stop learning. So
Right.
like your whole life is about learning, right? As in medicine,
Right.
it's a passion for
Absolutely.
learning.
Especially. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Neat.
So do you feel that you were prepared to practice after graduation, after graduating, after residency? Do you feel that the school provided enough for you to feel confident it must because you're there, but do you feel that, the school prepared you enough to go into practice?
Yeah, I feel the school, there I'll put it this way. The school gave me the what I needed to be successful, and it gave me all of the like kind of the baseline of what I needed to practice and be successful. I am a big believer in residencies, and I do think that you should, just my personal feeling, that you should spend time around other physicians who have been in practice, and you really have to watch what they do and learn from them and have some sort of mentorship set up, even if it's not an official residency.
Agree.
Not because you're lacking in the information necessarily. It's just having more experience is really what it's about. And I think that helps. So I felt like I got a ton of experience in school. And I really felt good when I got out. I was seeing patients right in the first practice I went to, straight out of school. But it really helped to have a mentor there I could talk to as well. So yeah.
Such great advice. That's so good.
I agree.
Mhm. Yep. So you've graduated, 3-year residency was here in Arizona. No, you said it was affiliated with NUNM. So did you move up to Oregon shortly after graduation and you've been there ever since, or did you stay in Arizona?
No, I stayed in Arizona. I went to Utah for a year and in Salt Lake and did that first year of residency. And then I went to Scottsdale and I spent 2 years in a oncology infectious disease office there. And then I spent a year doing like stem cell type therapies. I did a lot of physical medicine. I learned some pretty cool stuff. But I kind of stepped away from that after a year. Thought this was really neat. It was great, but it was kind of boring. I needed more to do. And so then I went back over to the oncology infectious disease for another 3 years. And then I've come up here to Ashland this last year, where I'm under mentorship of Donnie Yance, the herbalist that I was speaking of. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Neat. What a great adventure. And like it's just constant learning from this group, learning a little bit more, then back over to here and learning a little bit more. I'm fascinated that you got bored with stem cells. Come on. What? That's incredible.
Well, I thought it was great. I mean, injection therapies are really, really cool. And there's some doctors out there that I think it's their passion and they're super great at it and that they just love diving into that. And like Drew Timmerman is a great example of that.
Oh,
He's
yes.
passionate about it. He
Mhm.
knows so much.
Yes.
Like I've talked to him and I'm just blown away by how much he knows. So there's some
Oh,
really good
yes.
people that are fantastic at it. Me personally, I felt like I was good at it and I enjoyed it. But I wanted to do more and I was really interested in cancer and really liked working with very difficult kind of Sherlock Holmes kind of cases where no one else
Mm,
could help them. And like that's where my passion is. I really love people when they come in the office and they have been sick for a really long time, they have no idea what to do about it, or they have a really advanced cancer. I can step in and do things that no one else has done and investigate things that no one else has investigated, and that's where I really love to be. So
Very
nice.
nice. Just
Nice.
unique approaches, a whole new breath of life for those patients, I'm sure. Is that what you're doing
Absolutely.
here in Ashland? You mentioned pediatrics. Is it pediatrics all the way through to geriatrics? The clinic that you're with now in Ashland, is it also specific to oncology and infectious disease?
yeah, mostly. So the cool thing about Oregon, one of the unique things about being here is that I can take insurance. So that is both really great and really terrible. So there's two
Okay.
sides to that. I'm just being very straightforward about it. It's great and not so great. But the beauty of it is I can help people that otherwise wouldn't, be able to do that outside of their insurance, which is one of the joys I have of it. And so what I've seen is about 50% of my practice is primary care. So I keep up all sorts of different things in that, from weight loss to hormones to everything. Then the other 50%, and it varies because sometimes it's like 60 or 70, is naturopathic oncology. And that's really the focus of this clinic that I'm at here at Mederi Center. We do a lot of botanical medicine, adjunctive care for, really sick cancer patients. And it's pretty amazing, the results we see. So it's pretty cool.
Wow.
I'm so sorry, guys. I just realized we've been ignoring the chat bar.
Oh, sorry. Oh, let's see.
All righty. So why don't you take it, Jody?
Okay, where am I at here? Okay. So after graduating, did you think or feel that a private practice was your only option career-wise? Did you come across any other career opportunities?
Well, I think if you look at, like, one of the best resources is actually through the school, Indeed Job Link. It's fantastic. I've used it the entire time. There are a lot of career opportunities, I think, that are available out there, and you just have to kind of sift through them and find what you resonate with. And I look at every opportunity as, not only a chance to succeed financially, but also as a chance to learn and grow in my practice and understanding of medicine. So that's kind of how I look at it. So even if it doesn't work out, like, it's not a great financial decision for me, sometimes it's the best decision I can make for my continued learning and growth. And it's good for the patients. So
Okay. Good,
so
good.
I found lots of opportunities. That's how I'll keep that. And I think I could have jumped into that, but I also love private practice too. I think you can do that if it's something you really want to apply yourself to. It's a little harder because there's a business side of things that you have to
Mm,
think and put your efforts into. And it takes away some of the time that you probably would be better served learning the medicine or getting a little more experience. But, everyone's different
yeah,
depending on where they're at with that.
yeah, that's true. All right, let's see. Next question. Excuse me. When applying for residencies, do you focus on a specific specialty or do you rotate throughout different specialties within the 3 years of your residency?
So now you can do a specific specialty, like, you absolutely can. I really love learning a lot of information, so I didn't like being, like, boxed into one thing. So my 3 years of residency, I hopped around to different aspects within those companies that I was working in. So I did primary care for about a year, though I did have some oncology in that. And then I went from there and I did 2 years where I saw a lot of chronic infectious disease patients and a lot of oncology patients. And it was kind of like a mix between the two. So when I got out, they say that you need about 10,000 hours to be a master at something. I felt like when I got out, I was halfway there, like halfway towards mastery. So I've spent many years continuing to grow in that way. So hopefully that answers.
Nice, nice, very nice.
Jody, hold on, let's back up. I think you skipped one.
Did I?
Suzanne had asked, did you have a mentor at any point in your journey? And I know you touched a little bit on that. I'm curious too, sorry to hijack your question, Suzanne, but how many mentors have you had throughout your journey? It might be a better question for you, Dr.
I have had, from school on, I've had a mentor at every point of the way. So
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I really loved like Dr. Gaines, Patricia Gaines is amazing. So if you guys want an amazing herbalist you can work with at SENM, she's so humble and she'll never like, but
yeah.
she's one of the most incredibly like gifted individuals with her level of like herbal knowledge.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I would say Dr. Nick Brodovich, I really resonated with him,
Mm-hmm.
and Dr. Inoue, he was really amazing too when I worked
Yeah.
with him. And then after school, I had the chance to work with Dr. Todd Cameron for a little while. And then I went and I worked alongside like John Ertley, who is really good in
Okay.
Scottsdale. He's
Yeah.
super knowledgeable, great with oncology and infectious disease. Dino Prado. And then I worked along with currently with Donnie Yance. And Donnie is just an incredibly gifted individual. He has a photographic memory, so it's a little hard to like keep up with him, but pretty amazing guy. Yeah.
Wow. What a great opportunity you've had.
Yeah, I
Nice.
feel fortunate.
All
Questions.
right, let's see. Do you use nutrition as a major part of your practice? In what ways?
I do. I use nutrition a lot. In fact, one of the things that happened when I was going through my residency is I was working with a lot of patients, and I felt like nutrition, like good nutrition plans, were not being implemented as part of what we did. So you sit there and you say, well, this is a great diet for you to follow, but then they have no idea what to do. They have to like hunt for their resources. So I kind of put together resources for a while. And then finally, my wife, who has a master's degree in nutrition, we sat down and we like built out these different books. And they're just PDF versions. Like we at one time we were trying to sell them, and then we just said, this is ridiculous. We just need to give them to patients who need them. So we made like a ketogenic diet approach and that's a therapeutic diet for the right patient at the right time. The vegan, like plant-based diet approach. We did like a anti-parasitic kind of diet, anti-allergen diet, anti-inflammatory diet. We created all these different things, but we did 8-week nutrition plans within those with all the recipes in it and lots of good data about how this works. So yes, nutrition is a big part of our practice. You use a lot of supplemental therapies too for nutrients. And so, yeah, that's how I utilize it primarily with food and also with supplements. So,
Very nice.
Brilliant. What a great partner to have. Your wife is also a master
Exactly.
yeah, that was fortunate.
hmm Very nice.
Good question.
All right. What is the average age of patients that you normally see in your practice?
Okay, so you mentioned this earlier and I kind of skirted around it. So sorry about that. Uh,
That's okay.
so I see like a handful of pediatrics. Pediatrics is not my specialty, and I get referrals from them, but it's more like, hey, we've done everything we can, and would you be willing to try and help? And in those cases, I will take them because I want to help. And I've seen some pretty cool things with that, but it can also be heartbreaking. So I have a handful of pediatrics. Most of my patients are probably I'd say you go from, I'd say age range 50 to up to 80 to even I have a couple 90-year-old patients. So it's in a big range in that range. Younger than that is not as prevalent. Like they're healthier generally, right? So mostly you're going to see people whose health is not good. And, I have a good number of patients in the under that age category, but not as many as I have in the other 50 and above.
Yeah, which makes sense. The older we get, the not so spring chicken we are anymore. All right, let's see. Oh, I just skipped Suzanne here. Where'd she go? Oh, we had one. Oh, how often do addiction issues surface during treatment, and how do you work with patients who are struggling with such issues?
So this is actually it's a big topic because I think addiction is just part of who we are as human beings. We're all addicted to something in some way. And so almost always it's something that we're addicted to that has driven us into a state of impaired health, like in a lot of ways. Like, being straightforward, I enjoy pizza a lot and I eat way too much of it, and oatmeal raisin cookies. And honestly, those two things cause me problems. If I eat too much of them, I'll have problems. And so that's just an example, but there's many, many of those. Like, but when you get into like the deep addictions, like like opiates, or some of the, and any of the drugs, like illicit drugs. I work with a lot of patients who have those issues. And if that issue I feel is not supporting them in some way to make their life better and ultimately make their health better, then it's something that we talk about and we work through. And there are many ways to do that with naturopathic medicine. Like there are incredible herbs that you can pull from that will help, that you can help wean people off addictions. Lobelia is a great one for smoking addiction, right? Because it works on the nicotinic receptors. And so you have all of these great options and tools in your tool belt that you can bring to the table that others really aren't likely going to do, and tend to have more side effects on the other side of that. But you can also choose. This is the cool thing, is that we can also provide those other things too, almost always. Like if I want to put them on Wellbutrin, I can. And so the point being is that I can fit what needs to be used for that individual and pull from the very large tool belt that we get in our education.
Yeah.
So I see that a lot, and I work with them on a mental, physical, spiritual, nutritional, every aspect of who we are as human being level. That's how you get the best results. So
Very nice.
Yeah,
It's
right.
all individualized medicine, all individual. Okay, we have another question here. All right. Okay, so based on your experience in conversations with other students, what would you recommend as the best ways to prepare to perform well at naturopathic medical school as well as enjoy the experience? And James goes on to say, I realize you were coming out of an MD and chiropractic program, so you likely were likely current with subjects such as anatomy and physiology and other basic science courses.
yeah, I cheated. When I got into ND school, I had three different courses on anatomy and physiology. So I had gone through three different cadaver like dissections. So I was very, very knowledgeable at that point. So it was a little different for me in the program, but I actually should share this. So because I had the ability to see all three of the programs, and of course, the first year component of it. And what I saw is MD school, you get a very strong, just like opened up fire hose of like science education. And it's good information. It's really good. And it's not that much different from what we learn in ND school or DC school. In fact, it was pretty close across all of them. However, I feel because the underdogs in society tend to want to prove themselves, there's a little bit more on you. And so I kind of felt like chiropractic school kicked my butt. I went from MD school and I just repeated it, and I was like, oh, this is going to be easy. And it was really hard and it was really tough. And then I went to ND school and it was just as hard, but I had a little bit of advantage of having gone through it twice. So, but it was still very difficult. And so I think it's important to recognize that you are drinking from a fire hose, and that's just how it's going to be when you go through the programs. And you really have to take care of yourself and be really consistent in your study and eat that giant piece, that giant elephant, right? One piece at a time. and and just do your best. And ultimately, if you put in the work and you put in the time, you'll do really good. And you don't have to be perfect. I know this is like a thing everyone says. You guys have all heard this. We've all heard this. What's the difference between a doctor who gets C's and a doctor like who gets all A's in school? right? Like, what do you call a doctor? You just say doctor. They're still a doctor. It doesn't matter what your grades were. That being said, you put in the effort, you will have better, you'll have better knowledge, which will give you an advantage going forward. And so put in the work. It isn't easy. Best ways to kind of prepare, I would say, do your undergrad stuff. If you're not like current on everything, go get the books, like talk to some of the counselors there, like yourselves, like talk to yourselves, figure out what type of things would be in your curriculum there, and do some precursory education on it. Research, anatomy and physiology, read the books, review it, get one of those little coloring books and fill them out. They're fun, and you're going to get some information that gives you an advantage and makes it easier for you. So those are things I would recommend.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, being a doctor, it's not made to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be challenging. It's supposed to, I mean, you're going to be a doctor. So Khadija has a really good question here. So in the summer, I interned at an NMD office, and I found a lot of the patients coming from conventional medicine who were eager to choose natural medicine, but was not patient in the process. Have you experienced this before? And if so, how did you work with the patient?
So I'm assuming what you mean by they wanted instant results is kind of what I'm assuming is
That's
meant
what
by
I'm
that.
thinking. Is
Yeah.
that right, Khadija? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, it's all about education with the patients too, I think, and helping them it's not for everyone, first off. Like some people, this is just here, this is the reality. We live in a world nowadays where we do what's easiest generally, and that's true. I mean, we do what's comfortable to us. So people want a pill, and they could take just to feel better, and doctors want their jobs to be easier, so they want to follow an algorithm and make life easy for everyone. And that's I call it downhill medicine because it just goes downhill. It flows downhill effortlessly. It's easy for everyone, but it doesn't lead to the same high level outcomes that you want when you trudge uphill. You get stronger, you get healthier, and I practice uphill medicine, and I talk to my patients about that beforehand. That conversation is really simple. It's one of, hey, you know what? Our bodies adapt to things in our lives. And if we allow them the time to adapt, we will have better outcomes. And the type of medicine that we practice is slow medicine. Now, I can give you the heroic medicine and get you out of whatever state you're in. Do that for a short period of time, but then we're going to work with the slow medicine over time and build you into the person that you want to become. You don't go to the gym and instantaneously, become a bodybuilder. It takes years and years of consistent effort and practice, and that is the best type of medicine we practice with the best outcomes. So
Very well said. Very well said. Yes. Nice.
I think I'd heard before, it's not like you developed diabetes too overnight, so it's not going to go away overnight. Like just the simplest of examples, extreme, but
exactly.
it's going to take time.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's see. Keep in common, guys. Related to the earlier question, how did you find the school/life balance during ND school?
You know what? Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. When I went to like try to find people for my residency, right? Because I really wanted to do a residency. And I went out and I went to different places I knew were offering residencies, and I met them and talked to them about it. And one of the doctors that I spoke to actually told me this, and I was so mad at him when he said it at the time. He goes, you know what, man, I wish I was back in school. I really wish that I had like that time that I used to have in school. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I study all the time. What the heck? What kind of school did you go to? That's what I was thinking to myself. And long story short is now that I'm on the other side of that wall and have been for a number of years, I realized how good that school life balance actually was. Because I mean, truthfully, when you're a doctor, like we don't realize it, but all the people in your life will utilize you for help. And, if you're an open-hearted, kind person, you want to help everyone, your life becomes that. And so I'm on the phone sometimes at, 8 o'clock at night, and I'm texting, a cancer patient who's got, swelling in an area, and I have to talk to them about it and what they're going to do. And so I'm working a lot. And so my life balance, I still spend time with my kids and my family, but that balance is not the same as when I was in school. When I went through school, I had 3 kids, and while I was in school, and I was able to spend lots of time with them, and I studied hard, and like I did well in school. I had, almost all A's and B's, and so I did well. And I got out of the program feeling very knowledgeable with what I knew. And I felt like at the time, I felt like it was really hard, and it was so much in my life that I had to do. But I look back on it now and I was like, man, I did binge watch Game of Thrones one year. And so I was able to do that. Nowadays, that's not on my radar currently. I'd be having to schedule my time out and turn my phone off, or so it's a different world. So school life balance was I thought very good. And now with all the new things you guys have, those buildings, those came right at the end of my time there, and you have so much more like you can do. So it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Nice. So on that same note, so Tyrone asked, did you work while you went to school?
Yeah, I did. I did a few different things while I was in school, but it was mostly like programs to bring in a little extra money. And Sonoran offers, there's not a lot of them available, but there's different like school jobs available. I think I was in the mentor program, I think, for a period of time. I'd have to look back. It's been so long now. I don't remember all the things I did, but I definitely did work in school, but it wasn't like a full-time job where I was working full-time and doing school. That would be, honestly, school should be a full-time job for you. And it would be really hard for you to do a full-time job and go to school. I know people who did it, but it's not easy to do that. So
I agree. I agree.
Really
All right,
like
Jane, I think maybe not.
Did you get more? No, I love what you were saying about the life balance, right? Like what I think is cool about your time that's in school is it is pretty well structured for you. You know exactly when you have classes and exactly what time you have open. So when you need to be studying and preparing and reviewing and previewing. And like Dr. Hummel said, it's like now suddenly night of life. Now you have to figure out your schedule and that balance and all of that. So it's actually a little bit easier on you while you're in school. Now it's just kind of fill in the blanks around the classes and stuff. So time management, like that's what I hear. It's crucial. Time management. Yep. You have got to have a well-structured, organized calendar and know
totally agree.
When you set time to do this, you're committed to it. You follow that. You build in a hike here or there, or exercise every morning, whatever it is that's important to you. Time with family, obviously, right? It's all of that.
We agree.
So well said. Thank you so much for this amazing feedback. All right, Jody, you're back on. There's another question.
All right. Did your wife receive her nutrition master's from Sonoran? And how would you compare the level of nutrition education that you received in your ND training to her master's degree?
Well, okay. So when I was in school there, the nutrition program was not offered at that time at Sonoran. And so I can't really speak to the program entirely, but I did have a class with Dr. Thompson, and I know his level of nutritional knowledge. Like he taught our biochemistry course in chiropractic school. And I know that he was kind of crucial in building out that program. And I can tell you that it's likely a very good program at Sonoran. That I can just tell you that from my experience with my ND program. That being said, the one that my wife did, it was through the University of Bridgeport. And she had to fly out at the end and take this big test. And I thought she got a really good education from it. I do think I mean, there's just a difference in the program. One is a doctorate level, like, medicine focused program, and the other one is focused solely in nutrition. They're a different type of program. So yeah, I think she did really well with it, and I think she learned a lot from it. But I would say that my personal feeling is Sonoran's is probably, not to put down University of Bridgeport, but Sonoran's is probably better. And and the ND training is really not comparable because it's just a very different program. And I would say I learned a lot more than she did because that was just how much we needed to learn. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. True.
Specifically in the realm of nutrition. The way that when we first did introduce and roll out our clinical nutrition, the difference that I heard was like for ND, it's a shallow depth, but it's very wide, where with a clinical nutrition degree, you're very deep, 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 and it's not as broad, was kind of how you would compare the two options. But most importantly, in addition to nutrition, look at all these other additional tools that you're getting.
Right.
And nowadays, we offer where you can remove the nutrition from ND and you can get dual degree or concurrent degree. You can actually do the naturopathic doctor and get your MSCN at the same time. So you're still getting the depth of that nutrition and you're getting all those additional
And
tools.
you're getting, yeah.
So there's new options out there.
Yeah.
I like your description there, Jane. One of the things you said, that having as a naturopath, you're kind of like, the way it was always described to me is you're mile wide and an inch deep, right? You learn so much information, but the truth is you become great in where you choose to dig, and that's where you become really good. So I like that.
So true. So true. Okay, Jane, I think I'm all caught up. No, that was just a thank you, Dr. Hummel, for your thoughtful answer and our questions.
There's experiences and recommendations. Deciding on naturopathic medical school is not only a very big commitment, but also an exciting opportunity. Much gratitude. Thanks, James. Very nice. I'm just kind of curious, like, what's your day-to-day today? Like, we just talked about all that time management and all of that. Are you Monday through Friday, 8 to 5? I mean, aside from your family calls in the evenings, a couple here and there. But I mean, are you pretty well on a structured schedule? Is that how life goes?
I have to be very structured in what I do because that's how you develop a good life balance. You'll burn out really quick if you don't. So yeah, I work, I do my charting at different times than most people. So I'm a little weird. I'm an early morning person. Some people are evening people. And so I tend to get up very early and do my charting. And then I get into the flow of the office and I don't do a lot of charting. And then I go the next morning and chart. So it's kind of like my flow. So I do Monday through Wednesday, seeing about, I see probably on average about 27 patients a week, somewhere between 21 to 27 patients a week. And I do Monday through Wednesday. Then I chart on Thursdays. And then I do Friday where I see patients too. So I see a lot. I do a lot. So
nice.
And I spend time with those patients. So, if you talk to an MD, they'd say, hold on, I see that in a day. But in reality, I'm spending, an hour each appointment at least. So.
Fantastic. I'm sure, like, if hopefully everybody here has had that pleasure of meeting an ND, being a patient of a naturopathic doctor, but that first initial appointment is, I can imagine, a minimum of an hour for sure. That's one of the best things about this, is that personal, like, true attention, everything that you feel, that immediate connection, like, oh my gosh, my doctor's listening to me and they keep asking me more questions. What's happening right now?
Exactly. You want to know what? Yeah, exactly.
That's some of
So
my favorite feedback actually is when they tell me, they say, wow, you listened. Like, thank you so much for, I get that quite frequently, especially in the
yeah,
insurance realm, because they're like, none of the NDs take insurance and we're so grateful you do. And then I see them and they're like, wow, you just spent a full hour with me and asked me all these questions and did so much more than the 10 minutes that I normally spend with my my other doctor. So there's a gratitude that comes with that too.
yeah,
So
exactly.
Of course.
Nice,
We're doing great. We
nice.
have like 5 minutes, and then you just brought that up again, and I was kind of curious because earlier you're like, "There's a good and there's a bad." What's the bad? Of like, because that's what everybody's concern is. Well, we can't take insurance, but what? Why don't you
Yeah,
want to take insurance?
well, so everything in life, right? One of the beauties that we learn is Chinese medicine, and the yin yang symbol is a wonderful example of that, where everything in life contains a positive and a negative, a light and a dark, and we have these oppositions in everything that exists. And so, in the insurance realm, it's a beautiful thing to be able to provide a therapy to people that they're already spending money on their insurance, right? Most people
right.
are, and it's getting pricier. It's not like it's going down
Right.
in expense,
Right.
and you're getting less for it. And the truth is that it's a tough industry because, listen, everything is a business, right? So the insurance industry is its own business, the hospital industry is its own business, the pharmaceutical industry, the surgical industry, they all have different hands in this pot, and everyone, is taking money from this. And because it's so expensive, like generally over time, like rates go up and insurance reimburses less, like in certain situations. So the
Yeah.
downside with it from an ND perspective is, you want to get your full reimbursement of the time you spend, and the reality is that you don't always get that full reimbursement. Like, that's just what insurance companies do. They're going to give you what they're agreeing to give in
Right.
that patient's insurance program, and they're all a little different. And so, yeah, that's the tough side of it. The tough side is the monetary reimbursement, the timing of the reimbursement, the certain level of things in your charting that are required that they need to have access to. And so there's just some weird stuff. Like, one of the things is, if I prescribe a patient medication, I know it's the right fit for them, it's the right medication. Insurance decides whether they want to pay for it or not. And then they come back and tell me, no, you didn't try this medication first.
Oh,
And I'm like, well, I get where you're coming from, but I'm not looking to save money. I'm looking to save this person's life, right? I want to help them.
Right.
And that's not at the top of the priority. Unfortunately, I think we're all human and we want the best for people, but there's definitely a monetary side that makes some poor decision making on that side of things. So that's the downside. Positive
brutally
side is
honest.
we can help a
Yeah.
lot of people.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It definitely opens doors
All
if you
right.
get more there.
Yeah.
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Definitely painfully honest. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to ask the big question. What advice can you give to
There
these
you go.
students who are getting
Mhm.
ready to embark on this amazing journey? What's your professional advice to them?
So my professional advice is, when it comes down to becoming an ND, is put your whole heart and soul into what you're learning, and really, really do it from the perspective that resonates best with you. In other words, if you want to see people's mental health improve and that's what you love, spend your time while you're in school really digging deep into that aspect and learn all the other things. And really become good in those aspects. Find mentors in school that are in that program. Like, day one, when I was in school, I was in the lunch and adjust time period with Dr. Nick. Like, I went first week, I went over there and said, hey, I went to chiropractic school for a year. Will you let me be in here first and just hang out? And he let me, and I got to start working on people. And like, that type of stuff, getting to know the physicians, the clinicians at the school, the various doctors who have very deep knowledge, the PhDs, the other NDs who are in practice, and learn from them and grow. And that's the best thing you can do. Don't just look at school as everything's going to come to you on its own. Look at it as it's a tree ripe with fruit, and you need to pick as much of it as you can and preserve as much of it as you can. So
Nice, really nice. I love that. That analogy we've never heard before. Very nice.
well,
Jane, I can't hear you. So
Here I'm
I
running
can
my
hear
mouth.
you next
Thank you so
door.
much. The main point was thank you, thank you, thank you. A LinkedIn profile was shared in the chat. Hopefully we can find you on LinkedIn and you'll accept some new friend requests and just stay in touch with us. But
Very good.
amazing advice.
Thank you so very
amazing
much.
advice.
thank you.
Yeah.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
It's been a long
Good
time.
to see you. Yes, it has.
Come
All
back to
right.
Arizona
Take
soon,
care,
Dr.
Dr.
Hummel.
Hummel.
Take care.
All
Bye.
right. Bye-bye.